Well, so far this election year, we've told you a lot about President Biden, former President Trump, and even independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But as distaste for America's political system grows, more U.S. adults are looking at third parties as a viable option. The Libertarian Party is holding its national convention in Washington this weekend. You may think the Libertarian Party isn't that big, but by many measures, it's the third largest party in the U.S. Now, why there has only been one Libertarian to serve in the U.S. Congress, the party has made some gains in recent years. As of this month, there are 178 Libertarians holding office in public positions across the country, mostly at the local level. This week, I was able to catch up with Angela McArdle, the chair of the Libertarian National Committee. We were able to discuss her party's convention, their political stances, and why former President Trump, the presumptive nominee of the rival Republican Party, was invited to speak. Angela McArdle, thanks for coming on the Race Weekend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
This is a politics show. I think a lot of my viewers know what a Republican is, what a Democrat is. What's a libertarian?
A libertarian is someone who believes in personal and economic freedom. We want economic prosperity, we want peaceful foreign policy, and we believe strongly in civil liberties.
And is it fair to say that there's a lot of I don't want the government in my life approach to your policy beliefs?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think any of the things that we want are possible if there's strong government interference in any individual's life.
So is this convention that we're at right now, would it be fair to say that part of the platform is we don't want gun regulations, but we also don't want abortion regulations from the government?
We don't talk about abortion in our platform. We removed that from our last convention, so we don't have a position on it.
Curious about the schedule of events here. That we're here on the convention floor. The Libertarian Party isn't quite the Democrats or Republicans. They're doing their conventions in arenas. We're at a Hilton in Washington, D.C. But I'm curious why you invited former President Donald Trump to speak this weekend at the Libertarian Convention. Because in theory, he's the nominee of the other party, your competition.
Yes.
So why invite the presumptive Republican nominee to the Libertarian National Convention?
So for 53 years, we've been a national party, and we've been trying to get on the debate stage that whole time, and it's never happened. And so I decided, why don't we flip the tables and invite the other candidates to our convention to try to get a debate with them. And we did extend an invitation to the Biden administration as well. We haven't heard back yet, but if he jumped in last minute, we'd welcome him. And so we haven't been able to set up an actual debate yet. But President Donald Trump is coming to specifically address our grievances as libertarians, whether they're grievances with his administration in particular or government at large. He's coming to speak to our list of top 10 concerns. And then we're going to be holding some sort of press conference right after with our candidates.
Because you're going to nominate your own nominees.
Yes.
Who will be, in theory, competition to former President Trump.
Correct. So we don't have a debate, but it was as close as I could get. And I'd also like to point out that for the first time in history, one of the major parties' presidential candidates wants to come speak to us at our national convention. And that's because people are starting to recognize, people who are smart, that we are the most powerful voting bloc in the country, and we have all the political power right now. What libertarians and independent voters do is going to shape the election results in 2024.
This isn't just a tacit endorsement of former President Trump?
No, we have our own candidates. I mean, this is literally our nominating convention. We have candidates like Michael Rechtenwald, Mike Termott, Chase Oliver, and Lars Mapstead, who've worked very hard and they're campaigning for our nomination.
I'm curious about some of the signs I've seen around the convention on your website. Phrases like become ungovernable, phrases like anarchic spirit. Does the Libertarian Party just want chaos?
No, we want self-governance. I think jokes...
Anarchic spirit, though.
Well, many of us are anarchists.
You're an anarchist.
We are anarcho-capitalists. We believe in self-governance, that we can practice enough restraint, we can run our own lives, that we don't need the federal government. Federal governments, they can't even control themselves. We have trillions of dollars in spending, Pentagon black budgets, murdering people overseas with our taxpayer dollars. They have no grounds to tell us how to live our lives. So why can't we just self-govern and run our own lives? That's what makes sense to me.
You recognize, though, your candidate, your nominee, they're not going to win in November, right?
I mean, it's not likely. You'd never say never, but statistically speaking, it's not likely.
Is this about the future, then?
This is all about the future. We signal to the rest of the country what needs to happen in order to win the election. Our needs have got to be met. Major party candidates have to speak to our needs if they want to get, any of the swing vote, for example, if they want to catch the small L libertarian vote, independents who are maybe unsure how they want to vote. Those are the votes that people like Donald Trump and Joe Biden are going after. We are here signaling to the rest of the country, what could happen in the future.
Do libertarians have a chance to decide who is president come January 2025? Do you have a chance to sway this election? And
Yes.
what swing state do you think you would be most likely to impact the result?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, really?
New Hampshire. Absolutely. That is an interesting swing state. It is where the most libertarians are concentrated, where they live. Not all of them are party members. Some of them operate in the other parties, but there's something called the Free State Project, where tons of libertarians from all across the country moved there to try to make it a libertarian paradise. It's going to be a very interesting election, I think, in New Hampshire.
How many libertarians are there in the U.S.?
Oh, I don't know. Not everybody accounts for them. Not everyone considers themselves a big L libertarian, but with small L libertarians, certainly in a few million.
What's the hardest thing about trying to be a party to get a candidate on a debate stage or a candidate to be relevant in a presidential election? That's because the Democrats and Republicans, they have no trouble.
Well, ballot access. It's the biggest challenge. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about the Kennedy campaign, is they finally made ballot access something that the general public is interested in, because it's ordinarily not a topic people care about. Become ungovernable, right? We want people to self-govern. We want people to pull away from the federal government. We don't like it. We think it's irrelevant. We want to make it obsolete.
Angela, thanks for coming on The Race.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.